Today on The Exchange, we're covering 6 critical developments shaping enterprise technology. So, sit back. Make sure the volume is good because we're in for a longer exchange today. First, OpenAI just launched GPT 5.1 with adaptive reasoning that changes how you'll optimize AI costs. Next, we'll examine Google's new private AI compute that promises cloud power with on-device privacy. Plus, Microsoft patched an actively exploited Windows kernel 0 day that demands immediate attention. We'll also cover CISA's urgent warning about WatchGuard firewall vulnerabilities. Updated intelligence on Akira ransomware targeting critical infrastructure. And last but not least, Cognizant's major acquisition of 3Cloud that's reshaping the Azure services landscape. OpenAI rolled out GPT 5.1 yesterday, and this isn't just another incremental update. The company introduced 2 distinct model variants that fundamentally change how organizations can deploy AI. GPT 5.1 Instant is optimized for speed and conversational applications. GPT 5.1 Thinking is built for complex reasoning tasks. Both models now feature adaptive reasoning. This means the AI determines when to engage deeper analysis based on query complexity. For simple questions, you get fast responses. For complex problems, the model automatically allocates more thinking time. Here's why this matters for your operations. Token costs remain a significant line item for AI-intensive organizations. With GPT 5.1, you can now match the right model to the right workload. Customer-facing chatbots can use instant for low-latency responses. Research and development teams can leverage thinking for algorithmic problem-solving and complex analysis. OpenAI reports that thinking is approximately twice as fast on simple tasks and twice as deliberate on complex ones compared to its predecessor. The models also introduce new tone customization options. Organizations can now set presets for professional, candid, or quirky responses. This enables brand-consistent AI interactions across customer touchpoints. The rollout began yesterday for paid subscribers with API access coming later this week. Google made a significant move in the cloud AI privacy space with the launch of private AI compute. This new infrastructure addresses a fundamental tension in enterprise AI. On-device processing offers strong privacy but limited capability. Cloud processing delivers power but raises data governance concerns. Google's solution uses hardware-secured environments called Titanium Intelligence Enclaves. These enclaves create isolated spaces where Gemini models can process sensitive data in the cloud. The critical innovation is that data remains inaccessible even to Google itself. Remote attestation and encryption connect devices to these sealed cloud environments. For compliance officers, this opens new possibilities. Organizations bound by GDPR, CCPA, or sector-specific regulations can now leverage frontier models for sensitive workloads. The architecture runs on Google's custom tensor processing units with no administrative access to user data. All data processed during inference is discarded when sessions end. This mirrors Apple's private cloud compute announced earlier but tailored for Android ecosystems and enterprise deployments. The first implementation appears on Pixel 10 devices, but enterprise rollout is planned. Security firm NCC Group conducted an external assessment and identified some low-risk timing-based side channels. Google is working on mitigations. For organizations evaluating AI infrastructure, this represents a new option for privacy-sensitive applications that previously required on-premise deployment. Microsoft's November patch Tuesday demands immediate attention. The company addressed 63 vulnerabilities on November 11th, including one actively exploited 0-day. CVE 2025-6-2215 is a Windows kernel elevation of privilege vulnerability with a CVSS score of 7.0. The flaw stems from a race condition in how the kernel handles shared resources with improper synchronization. Attackers who win this race condition gain system-level privileges. Microsoft's Threat Intelligence Center confirmed active exploitation in the wild but has not disclosed attack details or victim counts. This matters because kernel-level exploits serve as force multipliers in attack chains. On its own, this vulnerability doesn't provide remote code execution. However, threat actors typically chain kernel exploits with browser vulnerabilities or Office document exploits. Once an attacker gains initial access through phishing or web compromise, this CVE can elevate them to system privileges. At that point, they can disable endpoint protection, dump credentials, install persistence mechanisms, and move laterally across your network. The patch requires a system reboot. All currently supported Windows versions are affected, including Windows 10, Windows 11, and Windows Server editions. Security teams should prioritize deployment. 5 additional vulnerabilities were rated critical, including a 9.8 scored remote code execution flaw in GDI+ and a use-after-free bug in Microsoft Office. Standard patch management protocols apply, but the confirmed exploitation of the kernel flaw makes this cycle non-negotiable. CISA escalated its alert posture yesterday by adding a critical WatchGuard Firebox vulnerability to its known exploited vulnerabilities catalog. CVE 2025-9242 is an out-of-bounds write flaw in the OS process. The vulnerability allows remote, unauthenticated attackers to execute arbitrary code on affected firewalls. No credentials required, no user interaction needed. This is your perimeter defense we're talking about. The flaw impacts Fireware OS versions 11.10.2 through 11.12.4, Update 1, versions 12.0 through 12.11.3, and version 2025.1. It affects both mobile user VPN with IKEv2 and branch office VPN configurations using IKEv2 with dynamic gateway peers. Security researchers estimate approximately 54,000 Firebox devices are exposed globally. CISA confirmed active exploitation and set a December 3 deadline for federal agencies to remediate. That's just 3 weeks. The accelerated timeline reflects the severity. For private sector organizations, the recommendation is equally urgent. WatchGuard published patches in September, but active exploitation means threat actors are targeting unpatched devices right now. If your organization uses WatchGuard Firebox appliances, verify your Fireware OS version immediately. Install the latest patch release. WatchGuard also recommends rotating all locally stored secrets on vulnerable appliances as a precautionary measure. This includes VPN pre-shared keys and certificates. If patching cannot be deployed immediately, consider disabling IKEv2 VPN services or restricting access to trusted IP ranges until remediation is complete. For federal contractors subject to BOD 2201, compliance is mandatory. This is one of those situations where your firewall becomes the entry point instead of the barrier. CISA released an updated advisory yesterday on Akira ransomware, and the threat landscape has evolved significantly since the initial warnings. Akira first appeared in 2023, but the updated joint advisory from CISA, FBI, Department of Defense, Cybercrime Center, and international partners documents new tactics and expanded targeting. Akira ransomware actors are now associated with multiple threat groups including Storm 1567, Howling Scorpius, Punk Spider, and Gold Sahara. Their capabilities have grown. They're targeting small and medium-sized businesses alongside larger enterprises. The sectors under attack include manufacturing, educational institutions, information technology, healthcare, and financial services. The advisory provides updated indicators of compromise, tactics, techniques, and procedures, and detection methods. For security operations teams, this translates to actionable intelligence. The updated IOC should be integrated into your threat detection platforms immediately. Network defenders should review the advisory's detection methods and implement recommended mitigations. Healthcare organizations should pay particular attention. Akira actors have demonstrated persistent interest in healthcare targets where operational disruption creates life safety pressure to pay ransoms quickly. The advisory emphasizes prevention through basic cyber hygiene, multi-factor authentication, regular offline backups, network segmentation, and phishing-resistant credentials all reduce attack surface. For incident response teams, the document includes forensic artifacts to hunt for post-compromise. The collaboration between U.S. and international agencies signals that Akira remains a priority threat. This isn't about theoretical risk. These actors are actively compromising organizations right now. Review the advisory. Update your detection rules. Test your backup restoration procedures. And brief your executive leadership on the threat and your organization's posture. Cognizant announced yesterday that it's acquiring 3Cloud, one of the largest independent Microsoft Azure services providers. This acquisition signals major shifts in the enterprise AI infrastructure market. The deal adds more than 1,000 Azure experts and 1,500 Microsoft certifications to Cognizant's capabilities. Combined, the merged entity will have over 21,000 Azure certified specialists globally. Financial terms were not disclosed, but the strategic implications are clear. 3Cloud has delivered 20% organic compound annual growth since 2020, with similar growth projected for 2025. That growth is driven by enterprise demand for Azure-powered digital transformation and AI enablement. Microsoft reported that Azure and other cloud services grew 40% year-on-year in third quarter 2025. The market is expanding rapidly, and this acquisition positions Cognizant to capture a larger share. For CIOs evaluating cloud service providers, this consolidation matters. The depth of Azure expertise is becoming a competitive differentiator. Organizations pursuing enterprise AI strategies need partners who understand not just cloud infrastructure, but AI-specific architectures, data platforms, and governance frameworks. 3Cloud's client base spans banking, healthcare, technology, and consumer sectors. The company earned multiple Microsoft Partner of the Year awards, including the 2025 U.S. Channel Partner of the Year. Cognizant itself has received top honors from Microsoft, including Intelligent Automation Partner of the Year and America's SI Partner of the Year. The transaction is expected to close in first quarter 2026, subject to regulatory approvals. For enterprises, this represents market maturation. The hyperscalers are growing, but so are the specialized service providers who help organizations actually realize value from cloud investments. Deep Azure expertise is commanding premium valuations. If your organization is planning significant Azure workloads or AI deployments, factor this consolidation into your vendor selection strategy. That's the exchange for today. Quick disclaimer and sources note. The author used AI in part to create this newscast. For the sources and why we included some topics and omitted others, see the notes that came with this audio. Our goal is to be transparent and show you how we sourced the info we used. If you found this newscast interesting or want to know how to be a part of it, contact us at podcasts with an S at matora.solutions. There's no need to add .com. That's podcasts at matora.solutions. Remember, inspect what you expect.